Hello and welcome to the Go Slow to Go Fast Lifestyle Podcast, your cozy corner of the internet where we take a deep breath, drop the hustle for a minute, and talk about what it really means to live more intentionally. I'm Kendra Chapman, your host, mom of triplet boys, lifelong educator, total coffee person, and your wellness bestie who's here to remind you that slowing down isn't falling behind, it's just choosing peace on purpose. And if you're juggling work, family, big life shifts, or maybe just trying to get dinner on the table without losing your mind, you are so in the right place. Around here, we don't chase perfection. We're about creating rhythms that support calm, clarity, and just enough structure to help us breathe easier. Today, we're digging into the mindset that seriously changed the game for me. The truth that life hacks aren't about doing less. They're about doing things smarter. And one of my favorite tools for that, it's something called habit stacking. We're going to chat about what that is and why it works and how I use it in my everyday life, my real life, and how you can build your own little stacks of support without adding to your already overflowing plate. And of course, I'll share what's been giving me those slow, cozy Huga vibes this week. So whether you're driving, folding laundry, or sneaking in a few sacred sips of that coffee, this is time just for you. Take a breath with me. Inhale through your nose, hold it, and exhale through your mouth slowly, and let's get into it. All right, everybody, welcome back. My family and I are back from Maine, and that's going to be my Huga moment for this week because not only did I love the temperatures in Maine, it was amazing. I also enjoyed the view from the house that we rented as a family, extended family. My parents rented a home on the water in Hancock, Maine, with a beautiful view of the water and a big grassy backyard and a deck. And we were able to hang out there most of the time, enjoying the cool temperatures and the water, which was right on the sound. It was like a inlet bay. So it was ocean, salt water, but right off the deck from where we could hang out and see everything in a great view of the water. And there were kayaks and a rocky beach where we could put the kayaks in every morning or afternoon and go for a row around the sound. It was great. It was amazing. And every day, if I could get on the water, I felt like it was a good day. And I think we only had one day of rain. So it was a little foggy and rainy. But for the most part, I was able to get out in the kayak just about every day we were there. So that brought me so much Huga, a family vacation, time with family, time out in nature, time on the water. So my soul was very happy last week. And it was very magical just getting out on the water and also getting some exercise, which really calmed my body down. I was able to stretch in different ways that I hadn't done in a long time. I was able to move my body in different ways that I hadn't done in a while. And it just got me thinking, how awesome would it be to live by the water every day and be able to go down by the water every day? And selfishly, to have those temperatures. Because now I'm back in the South, in Tennessee, and it is hot and humid. It is some of the most hottest days that we're having this summer now. And so we're back in the high 90s with humidity. So I'm definitely missing those temperatures from Maine. But it brought me Huga just to be able to sit out on the porch in the early morning and then early evenings as the sun was coming up or going down. And we definitely had to have a blanket out on the porch because it was chilly. 50s and 60s were the highs on some days. And so I had a blanket. I was able to have hot coffee and just be not necessarily barefoot on the deck. I was actually wearing socks a lot of the time and sweatpants, but that made me feel so cozy. and just having a little bit of time to myself. And I knew that the kids were out on the rocky beach. They're good swimmers, so I could see them for the most part. And I knew that they were just looking at seashells and crabs and rocks and whatever else was in the water. A lot of seaweed. It was kelp specifically. It was really cool. And listen, there was a mess inside the kitchen, but I was with family, so I knew that would wait until we went back inside and prepped for the next meal. And it just gave me time to be grounded on the porch with family in nature in very comfortable temperatures for me. So it was great. That definitely brought me Huga last week. And going into this week, what's bringing me Huga is being inside my cozy home, coming back. One of the best things about going on a vacation is coming home for me. And so it was amazing to be able to come back home and sleep in my own bed that first night back. And now we're kind of back in our routine of being at home and going to swim meets. And we just had one last night. And it was definitely hot outside, but it was okay because the boys were going back and forth into the pool, and I was sitting out in my folding chair on the grass under a big oak tree in the shade, and there was a bit of a breeze. So it's just always a good thing when I can get into nature whenever I can find it. So if you feel like you've been on the go, like go, go, go lately, I'm just putting this out here as a reminder that whatever your version of calm is, doesn't have to look like a 2-hour routine or a weekend or a week retreat in a house on the water. It just has to be a moment that you can build into your day where you can take a breath and clear your mind and set your intention for the day, whatever that looks like, whatever you want your day to look like. Try to build in that Huga moment where you can think about what you want your day to look like. And then at the end of your day, reflect and see, did your day turn out the way you had intended? And then I'm going to talk about a few ideas to build in some habit stacks that might help you build in a routine that will help you to reach your goal of whatever your intention is for your day. And so I'm going to go into segment 2 of my podcast, which is my Huga highlight. Let's talk about habit stacking and smarter life hacks. And I want to clear something up really quickly. I had a conversation with my sister-in-law while we were all together in the rental house last week on the porch. And I want to shout out to Christine Weber. She and I were talking about hacks. The concept of hacking and life hacks sometimes might come across to some people as a way to shortcut or to get around working hard, you know, and there's a difference there. And I think we both agree on this, that we're going to be hard workers. We're going to do things the right way, but we also like to be able to be efficient. And so I think we would both agree that a life hack can be a way to make your life more efficient and the routines in your day to day more efficient. And so I'm not saying that a life hack is a way to cut corners and to cheat in any way. That's not what I'm saying when I use that term. And I know it's a term that's thrown around a lot these days. But when I say life hack or habit stacking as a hack to life, I'm meaning let's work smarter and not harder. And let's figure out what the goal is for the day or the week or whatever you want to accomplish. And let's figure out a way to do it smarter. So you're not exasperated and you're not, wasting all this energy trying to do a task. And think about a way to make it work for you so you spend less energy doing the same thing, but more efficiently. And that's what I mean by a hack. So, life hacks. Again, they're not about cutting corners, they're about cutting chaos. And somewhere along the line, I know that they've gotten a bad rap. So I just want to kind of spend some time talking about that. And so one of my favorite types of hacks, life hacks, is habit stacking. And it comes from James Clear. He wrote Atomic Habits, which was a total game changer. It's basically a way to trick your brain in a good way. So thinking about habit stacking, James Clear talks about how you want to do things in a more routine approach. And so after I do whatever part of my routine during the day, if I can think about, is there a way to make this more efficient? Like when I make my coffee or when I'm brushing my teeth or when I'm doing laundry or, all the little things that we do during the day that add up in time, taking a shower, whatever. Whatever the habits and rituals that we do throughout our day, our routines, is there anything new that you want to add into your day that you want to maximize your time to feel like you're more efficient? And so I've been seeing some different feeds on my Instagram and things that I've been doing myself and trying out. I've started thinking like, I went out on the water last week just about every day and spent about 30 minutes in a kayak rowing. And that made my shoulders feel so much better and stronger. And I've been dealing with all this neck and shoulder pain. And now I have less of that. But, I don't live by the water normally, so I can't do that every day. So what can I do? Can I do, big and little arm circles, those exercises while I'm waiting for my coffee to run through the machine? Yeah, I can do that. That's one way that I could build up my shoulder strength and work my arms more strategically instead of just standing in front of the coffee machine while the water runs through it for like 2 minutes or however much time it takes. And when I'm brushing my teeth, could I have some more toned thighs and calf muscles? Yeah. So maybe doing 10 squats, three different reps while I'm brushing my teeth for 2 minutes might help define my calf muscles and my thigh muscles a little bit more. So I'm going to start kind of keeping track of how that makes me feel. And if I see a difference, but I think, breaking that up throughout my day and building that onto my routines that I already have in place is going to show me that I can do more instead of less. And that's what I'm looking for. Being more efficient, doing more, but have less stress around it. If you want to think of it like adding sprinkles on a cupcake that you've already baked, it's like you're not reinventing the wheel, your whole routine. You're just gently building on what's already there. It's gentle, it's doable, and it's not another thing to master. It's a way to take what's already part of your day and make it work for you. So why does this work so well? Let's nerd out for a second, but in a cozy, fuzzy socks kind of way. I'm going to share 3 different authors who have done some research in this area that might give you more insight, including James Clear. B.J. Fogg's Tiny Habits research from Stanford says success comes from anchoring new habits into old ones. It's like pairing a new plant with a support stick. Right? Or, like when you're growing tomatoes and they get really, really big and they start drooping over and you've got to put a, stake and help it out, like tie the stakes and stake your heavier vegetables that are turning into vines. They're going to want to, climb up and they're going to get heavy with fruit instead of, your fruit falling over and breaking. You want to be able to stabilize, support that new plant as it grows straighter with something solid to lean on. So think about your tiny habits turning into bigger, more efficient habits that way. Charles Duhigg's work on habit loops tells us that we need a cue, a routine, and a reward to be successful. So your existing habits give you the cue. You know when you're going to brush your teeth every day, right? I do it twice a day. Some people do it 3 times, like after every meal. You know when you're going to do your flossing. You know when you're going to do X, Y, and Z. Let the rest flow naturally. So if you're going to be brushing your teeth for 2 minutes, right, because we have that stand timer or the reminder on your electric toothbrush that you need to brush your teeth for 2 minutes, what can you do while you're standing there? Can you do some calf exercises? Can you roll your ankles around? Maybe doing the alphabet, uppercase letters and lowercase letters, on both feet, right? A minute on one side, a minute on the other. So it just depends on what you want to do. Do you want to stretch? Do you want to do some squats? Do you want to do some leg lifts, right? Your butt lifts where you kick your leg behind you so many times with your toes pointed, your toes straight. However you want to do that, but just thinking about ways that you can habit stack so everything else will flow naturally and you get used to that routine and then you just do it every day. James Clear, right, the king of making science feel human, says systems are greater than our willpower. So habit stacking is a system, one that you can personalize to your unique life. So however you live your life, you build in your routines, think about ways to build in those systems so you can make sure that you do them every day. So what does it look like in real life? Let me give you some examples from my own messy, beautiful life. In the morning, after I pour my coffee, I have my planner out and I want to look through my day. And I'm one of those people that has like a digital calendar and also a paper planner. I like to see both. I like to see it where I can kind of have my technology help remind me of all my appointments and have my 15-minute reminders before, and then also kind of just build in those habits of reflection, like starting my day and ending my day. Like all those things, I can use technology to help remind me to do those things. But then I also like to write. And so in the practice of writing, it becomes more ingrained in my brain about what I'm going to do. And it helps me set my intention for the day. So when I open my planner and I write down my intention for the day, then I can look at it at the end of the day and reflect on, did I make my intention happen? And if not, I can think about what made that not happen. And if I did, I can think about, okay, great. I set an intention and I met that intention. So how can I make that happen again for the next day? It's just those little things. And that's just another example. It doesn't have to be something physical where you're, doing arm circles, big and little, or squats or butt lifts or whatever, leg lifts. It can be another type of habit that you want to start doing, like reflection or mindfulness practices like meditation, like closing your eyes in between meetings, like Jim Laird shared last week on the podcast, where he said he just, after he talks for an hour, if he's on a podcast or a YouTube video or something where he's speaking a lot, then he takes a minute or 10 to rest his vocal cords and breathe and put the tongue up in the top of his mouth and then just rest. So think about ways that you can close your eyes, you can breathe, you can rest, you can recover. Another way that I do this is I put in my AirPods, and I listen to something uplifting, some fast music that will help me want to do laundry or sweep the floor or whatever tasks I'm doing around the house, cleaning the dishes, putting the dishes away, whatever that looks like. Sometimes I just ask Alexa to play a fun playlist, and I don't have my AirPods in, whatever that looks like. But music definitely helps me do more things in a positive way. In the middle of the day, I could think about, and things that I have thought about is answering emails. After I've been on the screen for like an hour, I try to take breaks and build in like 15-minute breaks. Because the more you build in breaks, the more productive you can be, where not spending so much time on a screen. When I used to study for long periods of time in school, like if I was in my master's program or my undergrad, and I'd have to memorize a bunch of facts and figures, then I would spend a lot of time kind of mapping out my day and figuring out the more I can take a break, the more I'm going to remember, because I have to memorize in spurts. So if I sat for an hour memorizing note cards, writing it out, because writing works for me and helps my memory, my working memory, then if I take a break for 15 minutes and I come back to that task, I'm going to have more opportunity to wake my brain up and remember more. And that just works for me. So if you have kids that are in school where they have to memorize a lot of things, work with them to build in breaks so they have more opportunity to remember more instead of sitting there for like hours on end, because that's not productive for anybody. And you're not going to remember as much information if you're trying to memorize something. But there's other types of habits. Like if I need to drink more water and I'm finding that I'm not drinking enough water, I'll set an alarm. I'll have my water bottle right in front of me. And it reminds me that I need to drink 2 of those water bottles every day. So if I can do 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, then I'm hitting my goal for that day. But I want to make sure I do that more and have less caffeine. And then after dinner, if you think about evenings and how you set up your routine in the evening, I really don't like having dirty dishes in the sink. And so before I go to bed at night, I usually set aside about an hour for one show with my husband, or maybe we do two shows, like one with the kids together and then one as a couple, but try not to do more than two shows a night unless we're trying to binge something. I don't like to go to bed with dishes in the sink, and so I spend time making sure that I have at least 10 minutes to put dishes away in the dishwasher and start the dishwasher. I just have to remember to start the dishwasher. Just making sure that the sink is cleaned out just makes me feel better. Plus, it also cuts down on other friends that might try to come into the house, like mice. I don't want to attract mice. So I really try to make sure all the dirty dishes are put away and food is put up at the end of the night or the end of the day before I go to bed. There's other ways that I do this, like washing my face. Usually I'm just kind of mindless when I'm washing my face, but I've started in the last couple of weeks thinking about three things before I go to bed. And it could be during my evening routine of washing my face, taking the makeup off. And I try to do that every night. It's very rare that I don't wash my face and take all my makeup off and all that and put on moisturizer. I just feel better. I can't really go to sleep without doing that. And so when I'm doing that, or when I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep, I have been working on saying three things to myself every night. One, please take away any negative thoughts that I've had throughout the day and let them go. Two, I want to have dreams, calm dreams that bring me abundance and clarity of mind. And three, I want to wake up as someone who is fully abundant and is attracting abundance. And then that way I set myself up for a positive rest at night where my body can repair. And then I'm also waking up in the morning feeling more positive and ready to start my day. And then I'm starting with a positive mindset because, we're all human. And so I know throughout my day, I'm going to have some thoughts that might be negative or that will be negative, and I just have to let them go, because that is being human, is to be critical of yourself or of others, or something happens to you and you overanalyze it or think about it too much. And so I'm really working on letting go of the negative thoughts throughout the day. Even sometimes when I'm in the shower in the morning, I'll reinforce that by scrubbing my feet with like a salt scrub or a sugar scrub, and then I'm like telling myself, let's remove all the negative thoughts and feelings out of the body. And the physical act of scrubbing your feet is another way to do that, while also saying that intention of let go of any negative thoughts or let go of negativity and only have positive thoughts. Let's bring in more positive, let go of the negative. So there's lots of ways that you can build in those productivity hacks instead of calling them life hacks. If you're like my sister-in-law, Christine, and it just kind of hits you the wrong way of saying a hack, then think about ways of making your life more productive. And if that bothers you, if the word productive makes you feel stressed, then what can also kind of change your mindset is thinking about it as a presence hack, or a way to be more present in the moment and using your time wisely to fulfill your intention for the day. So it's about giving your nervous system those little nudges of peace to build into your day. While it already is the way it is, you can make it even more meaningful. So before you try to overhaul your life with like 16 new habits or a Pinterest perfect routine, here's the deal. Start with one. I may have said something that resonated with you today that you want to try tonight or tomorrow, but build that trust with yourself first. So ask yourself, does this make my life feel lighter or heavier? Does this bring me closer to who I want to be, or does it bring me further away? So the best hacks aren't about hustle, they're about harmony. So you can think about them as harmony hacks. You're not failing if it's hard. You're just human. And your systems, they should support that. So the next time you think about what you want to build into your day, just think about how you can make that work for you. And that's it for this week's episode of the Go Slow to Go Fast Lifestyle Podcast. I hope you're leaving today with a fresh perspective and maybe a new habit or two to try stacking into your own beautiful, messy, busy life. And so I want to hear from you. What's bringing you Huga this week? And what's one habit that you're ready to stack for more peace, energy, or flow? Let's keep it going. I want that cozy conversation to start up on Instagram, or reach out to me in an email, coachingwithkendrachapman@gmail.com, or you can visit me on Instagram, Coaching with Kendra Chapman. And just let me know how it's going with you. Snap a photo of your cozy moment or habit stack that you're trying and tag me. I'd love to cheer you on. You can check out my Instagram to see the view that I had from the porch last week in Maine, and you can see my kids running around outside barefoot in the grass. And as always, if this episode spoke to your soul, I hope that you consider sharing it with a friend or everyone you know who's doing the most and deserves a little less overwhelm. So until next time, the light in me honors the light in you. And as you head into the rest of your week, I hope you'll let your light shine through. Thanks for hanging out. I hope your week goes well. And remember to go slow to go fast. And thanks for listening.